Welcome and welcome back to Game Over Movie Reviews. A Happy New Year to you all, and I hope Santa brought you everything that you hoped for. Now, I know it's been a while since you've seen my ugly mug on camera, something I hope to remedy for the rest of 2022, but what better time to return for end of year ranking videos. This is my top 20 films of 2021, and I've done 20, A, because I'm greedy, and B, 10 just didn't seem like enough. There was a lot of films I watched in 2021 and a lot of great films. Also coming soon to the channel, I'll have my ranking of every horror film I watched in 2021, or 29 of them. If that sounds like it could be up your street, please hit that subscribe button and the notification button so YouTube will tell you when the video is ready for your judgment. And because I'm extra greedy, let's start with 5 honourable mentions that didn't make the top 20. Shiva Baby. Some films take pleasure in making you squirm and tightening the vice until you can barely take it. Shiva Baby does it in a way I've never seen before, essentially a one-act play drama which on paper doesn't sound like it would be particularly interesting, but it's riveting from the opening minute. A lot of people will absolutely hate this film, I was not one of them. Limbo. If I were to try and sum this one up, I would probably say, imagine if Wes Anderson directed an extended episode of Father Ted. Funny, moving, full of bleakly beautiful, symmetrical, postcard-like cinematography. Limbo is sharply and economically written with magnificent performances across the board. Not enough people are likely to see this one. Please don't miss out. Luca. I feared this might be a bit too slight, and I have to admit I wasn't hugely excited about Luca, but why would I doubt Pixar? I thought this was really lovely. Not sure this will have a stronger rewatch pull as other Pixar films, but I really enjoyed this one and will never doubt Pixar again. Nomadland. I liked a lot about Nomadland. It kind of hits right when you're hitting that second wave of a hangover and just feeling ever so slightly sorry for yourself. This is an absolutely beautiful looking film, stunning cinematography and shot so well. And of course McDormand was brilliant, but that's a given. And finally, The Father. A very cleverly crafted and moving drama that at times has surprising touches of almost psychological horror. Hopkins is incredible, but so is Olivia Colman as always. Just a few clunky moments in the script held this one back from my top 20. Speaking of my top 20, number 20, Coda. If you're going to tell a fairly familiar and predictable story, you've got to get all the ingredients right, and Coda does exactly that. The cast are magnificent, particularly Emilia Jones, Troy Kotsur and Eugenio Derbez. Emilia Jones' casting is perfect. A beautiful singing voice that really feels organic and not too stagey really helps to sell Ruby's story. The last 15 minutes were as expected, but Sian Heder lands every emotional moment perfectly. And the scene with the singing on the back of the truck under the stars is just one of my favourite moments of 2021. Number 19, The Last Duel. Despite The Last Duel being pretty long and repetitive, purposefully and successfully, I never once felt unengaged. The whole cast is exceptional and it was such a blessed relief to hear so many flawless actor accents, even if they're oddly not geographically correct. Jodie Comer is preposterously good and this really is her film, but as always Adam Driver really shines too. This is generally an excellent looking film where the fairly drab cinematography added to the mood rather than detract. And such a clever idea that Matt Damon and Ben Affleck wrote the male perspective and Nicole Holofcener, I don't know if I've said that right, wrote the female side. It doesn't feel like we've moved on that much in 700 years, but at least we don't settle matters of law with a battle to the death. Number 18, The Mitchells vs. the Machines. One of the best surprises of the year, and a film I've had my eye on probably since early 2020 when I first saw the trailer, when it was called Connected. I'm glad they changed that title. Sony Animation absolutely nails the look and feel of this film with some of the most inventive and eye-popping animation of the last few years. It also tells an engaging and identifiable story about fitting in when you don't fit in, the pulling apart of a family unit in this day and age of endless distractions, and of course, a theme very prevalent in films in the last 2 years, our over-reliance on tech. And it all comes together in an exciting and an emotional finale to make one of, but not the, best animations of 2021. Number 17, One Night in Miami. Regina King's firecracker directorial debut has 4 absolutely standout performances. Adapted by Kent Powers from his own play, One Night in Miami has a killer concept, pitting four powerhouses of black American culture together in the same room to talk about their lives, America, and how their roles shaped the battle for racial equality. It's a simple film which succeeds due to its razor-sharp script, those four magnificent performances, and some very tight editing and directing. Number 16, Palm Springs. Another take on the Groundhog Day formula, but this one throws in its own creativity and surprises. Andy Samberg once again plays himself, but it's perfect for this role as his character is all about not really giving a shit, but here it becomes a darkly comical, nihilistic take on the time loop idea. Kristen Milotti is just as good as Samberg, if not better, and has a lot to do in the film as someone who gets caught up in Samberg's nihilism, but is also desperate to get home. Throw in J.K. Simmons as a kind of Terminator caught in a time loop, and you have one of the most enjoyable comedy sci-fis I've seen for some time, and I look forward to seeing it again. Number 15, In the Heights. What an absolutely joyous film. I was grinning most of my way through this one, and I've seen it twice and enjoyed it just as much the second time. Performances across the board, musical and dramatic, are pretty much flawless. Some of the songs and routines were stunning to look at and listen to. I especially enjoyed Abuela's song. That actually made me feel quite emotional. John M. Chu's direction is buzzing with energy, and the cinematography and special effects added a sheen to the film which made the whole film sparkle. I wasn't overly keen on the character of Vanessa. I think they made her just a little bit too hard-nosed. Also, I felt a few of the character threads fizzled out in not particularly a satisfying way. But as someone who doesn't naturally gravitate towards musicals, I had a great time with In the Heights and would recommend it if you feel the same way. Number 14, The Power of the Dog. This is actually my last review on the channel, so feel free to check out my full thoughts after this video, linked to that review below. But in a nutshell, Benedict Cumberbatch shines in what I feel is his best role to date, in a brooding and slow western which builds to a fantastic ending. Johnny Greenwood's score is also one of, if not the best of the year. Number 13, The Two of Us. A beautifully shot French drama which subverts the viewer's expectations from its fairly mundane synopsis. At its heart, this is a drama about an ageing lesbian couple keeping their relationship secret from family and onlookers, but it becomes so much more than that with a surprising, darkly dramatic curveball. And it's absolutely riveting. The cinematography, the two leads, the editing, and the surprising story meant I was mesmerised from start to finish. This is the kind of film that will fly under the radar, but I implore you, if you have any interest in foreign language drama, please give this a try. The Two of Us is absolutely one of the best hidden gems of 2021. Number 12, Quo Vadis Aida. This is one of those films I feel everyone should probably watch, but don't really have it in me to recommend it to anyone. Gut-wrenchingly, nauseatingly tense from start to finish, and pretty much devastating by the credits. Jasna Juricic is absolutely incredible. And how in the name of fuck do these things keep happening in the world? And this, just 26 years ago, it's unbelievable. As much as I liked Another Round and Collective, and I did see the other two foreign language noms, I really feel this one should have taken that Oscar. Please give this one a try, but I do recommend lining up a Disney film chaser. Number 11, A Quiet Place Part 2. I was lucky enough to see A Quiet Place and A Quiet Place Part 2 back to back, a special double screening, which was really draining. And Part 2 is an excellent follow-up that doesn't quite hit the heights of the first film. The cast is actually better than the first film, especially the two kids who are superb. And great to see Cillian Murphy back in the post-apocalypse. 28 quiet days later, anyone? The plot is again very simple and economically told. That prologue showing day one of the invasion is absolutely badass. Krasinski is a fine director. The film does feel a touch episodic. This is by design, I feel, but it's almost like we're watching a TV show in film format. Very much compounded by that sudden and quite unfulfilling ending, which is a major issue for me. All told though, a very strong follow-up, and I'll be looking forward to part 3, which seems pretty inevitable. And before I get to my top 10, I'd love to hear yours in the comments below to see how much crossover we have. And like I said at the start of the video, I'd like to give the channel a bit more love in 2022 because I didn't really tend to it very well on the last third of 2021. Please hit those important buttons below. I'm looking to get 500 subscribers by the middle of the year. Anyway, enough of that, it's top 10 time. Number 10, Another Round. Now, me and my girlfriend get quite exasperated when we watch film and TV because Everyone seems to be drinking these days, which makes us want to join in all the time. Probably a bit too much. Well, this time I took that into consideration. I had plenty of wine and beer lined up, literally. I've been waiting so long to see this after it made so many people's top 10s of 2020, but of course, being in the UK, we get it a year after everyone else. I will say that it just marginally missed out on my expectations, but that hope had been building for some time, so that was almost inevitable. Mads Mikkelsen might just be the finest actor working at the moment, and that end scene is just glorious. And spoiler alert, we might see Mads again in this top 10. Number 9, Dune. Dune feels like a 5-hour movie has been chopped in half, and I think I speak for many when I say there would have been riots if the second film hadn't been greenlit, and I absolutely can't wait for it. Dune was never ever going to live up to my astronomical expectations, but this is still exceptional cinema. I'm not going to say much because you all know the score here. It looks amazing, sounds amazing, one of cinema's best scores, cast are amazing, it's deep and fascinating and bewildering in the absolute best way. The reason Dune isn't in my top 3 of the year, or even my top 3 of Villeneuve's output, is the first couple of hours of this quite long film, I didn't really feel much emotion. It's quite a cold film. But I really feel that when that part 2 lands, this first part will be recontextualised and we'll probably have a 5-hour masterpiece on our hands. I trust in Denis. Number 8, Riders of Justice. It's Mads again. Riders of Justice is probably the very best surprise of 2021. Obviously, one of the biggest selling points of the film is the presence of the master Mads Mikkelsen. This film is funny, heartfelt, emotive, dark and violent, and has a really sharply written screenplay. Riders of Justice has an abundance of heart because every single character, and there are quite a few here, all have a strong identity, voice, history and arc, and their own unique quirks and stories. Each character, even the minor ones, feel like real people. Riders of Justice deals with some heavy themes such as how we deal with trauma, how do we deal with blame and responsibility when huge things happen in our lives which are out of our control. This is an absolutely unique film. Please seek it out if you haven't seen it. Number 7, Minari. I always felt that Stephen Yeun was one of the best actors in The Walking Dead and was maybe a little wasted in that role. He's just great here and totally pulls you along on his journey. You ache for Jacob to succeed as a farmer, a father and a husband, and you really feel for him when not everything quite goes the way he'd hoped. The 2 absolute stars of the show though are Alan Kim as David and Yoo Jong-yoon as the grandma. This is Alan Kim's debut and I just don't know where casting agents get these kid actors from because Kim is absolutely fantastic. The grandma is one of the best movie characters of 2021. She just doesn't give a shit. She's straight talking, wisecracking, makes little effort to go out of her way to ingratiate with his family. Minari is also laugh out loud funny at times. There's a particular scene which I won't give away involving a drink which had me howling with laughter. And overall it's just a lovely film, beautifully shot and acted, and I really enjoyed spending time with his family. Number 6, The Rescue. The chronicle of the enthralling, against all odds story that transfixed the world in 2018. The daring rescue of 12 boys and their coach from deep inside a flooded cave in northern Thailand. The Rescue is an absolutely riveting documentary which will reaffirm your faith in humanity. The story of this rescue is a real-life Hollywood story, barely believable, with fantastic zero to hero arcs of the main characters. And this is what sets this film and what happened apart from similar events. The heroes here are humble, socially awkward fellas who just so happen to be highly skilled in their society-avoiding hobby of cave diving. If you don't know the outcome of the story, I'm not going to spoil it, but the last 20 minutes are unbelievably tense. Just made more tense by the fact these people are just normal, ordinary folk. If you're into documentaries, this is easily the best one of 2021 that I saw. Number 5, The Suicide Squad. I expected to like The Suicide Squad. I was pretty sure it was going to go straight to the top of my DCEU ranking, and it has by a huge margin. But I never expected a DCEU offering to be one of my films of the year. This was just gloriously entertaining from the first second to the last. Everyone, including James Gunn, is just going for it. The whole cast is incredible, with my standouts being, honestly I can't pick, they're all great. The effects are preposterously good, the music choices are all excellent, without ever feeling the need for this new trend of annoying needle drops every 10 seconds. And the gore? I couldn't believe my eyes at times. The only flaw I can think of really is that Polka Dot Man was a little bit underused, but really a nitpick and a film that had me grinning pretty much all the way through. Number 4, Raya and the Last Dragon. This was actually my number 1 film for quite a long time this year. I watched this one with my daughter, and it's often the way when we watch films together. She loves it, I love it a little bit more, and this was a real special watch. Raya does tread a fairly familiar path when it comes to the standard emotional beats of recent Disney: build the world, have some major family drama or death, and the main character has to go on a quest to save that world, meeting a group of friends to help them on the way. But Raya and the Last Dragon treads this familiar path perfectly, or very nearly perfectly. The characters are all really interesting, good and bad, the animation is utterly beautiful, and the world building and design is rich and fed to us in healthy portions of exposition. But Raya's standout attribute is its action. This is essentially a Disney kung fu film. With this and Encanto, which I had just outside my top 20, Disney have had a great year for their major animated movies. Number 3, No Time to Die. I'm actually quite shocked at just how much I love this film. It definitely helped that I just rewatched the 3 good Craig films. I didn't bother with Quantum of Solace. Watched them with my daughter and she loved them. I love watching them again. And I was surprised at how much heart this film has. It just feels massive. Cary Joji Fukunaga directs the shit out of the film, and although it is bum-numbingly long, one of my only real issues, I was never even close to being bored or felt that the pacing or story sagged. Safin was a better baddie than I expected, although his kind of big bad major plan was a bit thin. And Malek actually surprised me, as I feel he can be a bit much at times. And that ending is absolutely perfect. It's just a fitting ending to my favourite Bond, and I will miss Daniel Craig. Number 2, Judas and the Black Messiah. Obviously we all know Daniel Kaluuya is insanely good in this film and just riveting to watch. And like a lot of people have said, I wish he was in the film a little more. It helps he's playing a real legend in Fred Hampton, an impassioned man who demanded attention in all he did, and Kaluuya absolutely nails him even if he's about 10 years too old. The Keith Stanfield is also exceptional in the less glamorous role as Bill O'Neill, a character where my sympathies kind of went back and forth constantly. And once again, the police of America did not come out of this one looking great. I was pretty angry after watching this one, but massive credit to Shaka King for making such a firecracker of a film. And my number 1 film of 2021 is Pig. What a surprising, elegant treat this film is. It's a timely reminder, just in case any of us have forgotten, that Nicolas Cage is a fucking incredible actor. The minimalist screenplay is so powerful, telling a surprisingly emotional story in very few words of dialogue. Every word counts here, and it feels as if the script has been honed to its absolutely sharpest point. The cinematography is beautiful and glacial, matched by the score, another one I'll be seeking out. And Pig has easily my favourite ending of any film this year. It's just perfect. It's an odd film and it doesn't really fit with much of Cage's recent output, but I sincerely hope that this gives him a little nudge back towards some serious work, because the man is a powerhouse when he has the material. So there we go, my top 20 films of 2021 with a few extras thrown in. Let's hope that 2022 is just as good or better for film, and maybe that it's better for all of us in general. Thanks for watching.
Game over, man. It's game over.